Okay, now some of you will need to recode your variables. And what that means is you want to give different values to the different variables. And so here's an example. We have the variable PCLivSit2. What this means is the living situation of the child. The primary caregiver is reporting on the child's living situation. And this is at wave 2. So we have here, for most of the kids, you have 85% of them living with their married biological mom and dad. 1.5% living with biological mother and father. 2% with their adoptive mother and father, and so on and so forth. You have some stepfathers, stepmothers in there as well. You have split time between divorced parents. And then you have single biological parent plus grandparents, single biological, non-biological parent. So maybe what you want to do is you want to say, well, I'd like to get all the kids who are living in single parent families. My guess is that these here, 8 through about 11, are probably going to be definitely in that category. You think, yeah, those are definitely grandparents. No, we don't quite know. Other relatives, foster care, other ones. But if you want to know about single parents, this would be a good choice. Now, you don't have to do this, right? You could do something else, and you could look at it some other way, and you could choose different ones. But we're going to do that here. We're going to say 8 through 11. Those pretty much look like single parent homes. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, we're going to do this. We're going to say recode. That's the command for this. And what are we going to recode? We're going to recode PCLivSit2, living situation 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have parentheses. And we're going to say, what did we say? 8 through 11? Well, we're going to say 8 through 11. I'm going to say equals, maybe we have that equal to 1. Okay? Because we want to know who the single parents are. We're going to relabel that 1. And then all of these up here, 1 through 6, well, those are definitely 2-parent homes. So we're going to say, do another parenthesis, 1 through 6, and that's going to equal 0. So 0 is going to equal 2-parent homes, 1 is going to equal single-parent homes. I have a space here, no space there, right there. It doesn't really matter. You could do it either way. And then everybody else, if you just want to have them missing, then you can just leave them alone and they'll just specify them as missing. There's not really very many people there, maybe 1.5% or not even that, just a little over 1%. They're in these other kinds of categories. But you'll see here that if we add up all those together, you're going to get about 100 or so people that are in that category. Now what we want to do, though, is we want to generate a new variable. So we're going to say generate. You saw that with the alpha if you watched that little video. We're going to generate a single. We're going to call this single parent homes, right? So we're going to say these are single parent homes. If they get a 1, then it's a single parent home. So we're going to hit enter, and it says there's 504 differences between one and the other. So if we go down to the bottom here, again, whenever we create a variable, it puts it right there at the bottom. So we have single. So I'm going to double click on that. We do a frequency on that. Oh my goodness, I did it wrong. Look, I thought it was going to code those as missing. I forgot that it doesn't. It just left them the same. And so we have a 0, which is all of these guys right here, 1 through 6. And then we have a 1, which are these guys right here. But then we've left alone 12, 14, 15, and 16. So we want to make those blank. So let me do this again. But I want to get rid of my single variable. So I'm going to do drop. If you want to delete a variable, you say drop single. Okay, so I'm going to redo this again. We're going to do this better. So recode those. And then what you can do is you can say, all right, 12 through 16. You're going to do parentheses, 12 through 16. That's going to equal dot. Dot means missing, so don't do anything with them. Just say they're missing. And then we do that. And then we're going to do a frequency on single. And there we go. We have 0, which are 2-parent homes, and we have 1, which are single parent homes. Well, let's say you want to do those who are not biological, or that they have a stepfather or stepmother. So adoptive, and you might want to combine those. Well, you just recode 3 through 8, and you call it whatever that would be non-biological, at least one non-biological individual. But you can just specify these however you'd like to, and you create the new thing. Now this is 0, 1. Again, when we create these, when I say single, or I name it something, what this means is that they're single people and non-single people. The single people are ones, and that's just mine in a typical naming convention, where the name of it is the 1, and the other people are the zeros. What you could do is you could create a label. You could say, and this is probably more than you need to do, but just so that you can do this, you can say label define, and I'm just going to call it single. And you could say 1 is single parent, and 0 is 2 parent. Okay, so I've just defined the label. I didn't get any red marks or errors there, so it worked. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to label values. I want to label the values of this variable, single. Now, I've named, so this is how the label define works. You say label define, and then you name the label. So I just named this label single. I also have a variable named single. I want it to be the same just because that's easy to keep track of. And 1 is going to be single parent, and a 0 is going to be 2 parent. So label values of the variable single, label them single. Label it with that. So this represents the actual variable, and this at the very end, because Stata knows this is the convention, means the label that I've just defined. So I hit enter on that, and now I'm going to do a frequency on single, and you can see the 0 has been labeled 2 parent, and the 1 has been labeled single parent. So that way I was able to create this label that helps me to see what's going on here. What I'd want to do with all of this is I'd want to keep it. So I'm going to copy all of this, and I'm going to put it here. I'm going to do a do file and put it all in there. So that way I'm just keeping track of everything that I'm doing. I don't need that frequency there. But if I have this, and if I opened up the data again, if I just chose not to save the data, I could open up the data again, and I just run that, and it would do exactly what I wanted it to do again. I would create the recoded values of the single, and it would create the define the variable label, and then it would label my variable with those. So again, with this, I'm just saying a 1 equals single parent, and 0 equals 2 parent. It just gives those labels. So that is how you create a new variable from another variable.